Before we get to some of these other philanthropic things, you paid a visit to Jim Ross yesterday. That was a very kind gesture of you as well. How was it getting to spend some time with Jim? We're all thinking about him, obviously, right now.
Yeah, well, it was great, and Jim's doing really well. And the thing is, it wasn't really that nice of a gesture because I should have done it a long time ago. Jim and I only live an hour apart, and so it's something I should have been doing more regularly anyway. But it was great to catch up, and now that we know how close I am, especially, I Jacksonville is one of the only places in the southeastern part of the United States that has a Whataburger. And so I travel regularly. The one thing the pandemic did for me, it made me see like I don't like flying. So when I go to visit my mom, I would rather drive. I'm lucky that I can do these one-man wrestling storytelling shows. Book a show or two on my way up to New York. Book a show or two on the way back. Stop by a Whataburger. Visit good old JR. It sounds like a good way to spend the day.
See, I grew up in small town Texas. I was spoiled by Whataburger. I mean, I get it.
Everywhere.
I get it. I get it. But I mean, there's still some. I mean, I'm a Wendy's guy. Like I got a weird palate.
What? Well, I think this interview's over, Hausman.
Sorry, Mick. I should have gone off script. I apologize.
Hey, let me get back to Jim. Jim's doing great. He's good. I think he's on his 8th or 9th day of radiation. He showed me, his ankle area and his back, and they're both doing a lot better. He really appreciates the outpouring of support on social media. So please keep it up and send them a get well on Twitter.
And Jim's not the only one, obviously, that you're helping through tough times. You've been doing fundraisers. Jimmy Rave, I saw you raised $22,000 for it. Of course, obviously, raising money around Daphne as well. Do you want to touch upon these two before we kind of get into the other stuff as well?
Yeah. They both really, man, I don't want to sound like overly dramatic, say filled my heart with joy, but both those events greatly exceeded my expectations. When Michael from High Spots told me, when I came to my virtual signing there a few weeks ago, that they had to cut off orders on the way driving back home, I was thinking, wow, if there are more orders, I was thinking about Jimmy and how, Jimmy's GoFundMe really needed a boost, losing both legs. I mean, it's devastating emotionally, psychologically and emotionally, and also financially. He's got bills over $100,000. He believes that they'll be able to whittle that down to maybe 50 or 60, but it's still a mountain of money. And I just thought, hey, if there's some orders out there to be had, and I can combine that with some of my memorabilia and also some personal interactions, like the 2 nights in Georgia, which we completed. Actually, it was 3 nights, and we had a fantastic time with a couple who bid a nice amount of money. It really exceeded expectations. I thought maybe we'd get 10 or 12,000, and Michael said, we're going to try to get you and Jimmy to his goal, which was $22,000.
Yeah.
And we did it. It was really incredible. And the same thing with the fundraiser for Daphne's, one of her organizations of choice was the National Alliance for Mental Illness. Daphne had struggled for a long time. And her mom, in the days following her death, had a link to NAMI, Georgia. And so, I had raised some money by auctioning the shirts off my back when I did my shows in September. And because I was going to Atlanta, which is where Daph lived, I wanted to do a fundraiser. And Nick, I'm not going to lie to you, I have a little bit of an ego when it comes to these shows. And I was a little bit disappointed that Atlanta was shaping up to be one of the least attended venues on the tour. So I thought, all right, maybe we raise $4,000 because I'm donating the entire gate, minus the club's fee, and I'm doing the shirt off the back, and I'm donating the merchandise. And then people just really exceeded all my expectations. The shirts went for $1,300. A friend of mine from high school donated an extra 500. Another guy made a $1,000 donation, and we came out of there with almost double of what I was hoping for, $7,750.
Wow.
And just as importantly, maybe more importantly, Daphne's mom and her brothers were there, and just knowing that people cared. The representatives from NAMI were there. They were overjoyed. It turned out that in an economic downturn, and the coronavirus, where people are unsure financially, that their donations were down. They did not know how they were going to fund something called In Our Own Voices, which is a suicide prevention program designed for teenagers. And that shirt off my back money that we raised, the $15,000 in September, was able to fund that program specifically for an entire year. So the whole evening felt kind of serendipitous to me. And I thought it was one of my favorite shows. I told a few stories that, I don't usually tell. And it was a really great evening. Made me proud to be part of the business. That's not always the case. It is all, but sometimes you're prouder than others. And I thought it was a great night. I love when we, as a wrestling community, come together to support our own. And this was one of those cases.
So is this what's driving you right now, Mick? I mean, I feel like you're obviously in a very philanthropic part of your life and your career right now. Is this really the biggest motivator, is to get out and do things like this for the community right now?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I do like those shows where I do I make some money. I think I'm going to gear another one in January specifically to Culture City, which is the autism acceptance group that I volunteer for. But I love the idea that I found something in this shirt off my back, where instead of raising the $100 to $200 that I thought we'd get a night, we're averaging about $400 or $500. So if I can make a donation of $400 or $500 everywhere I go, that's in keeping with my goal of making the world a little better place for mankind.
Well, rock and roll, and I love that, by the way. So how did you initially get hooked up with Hearts of Reality here? What is the funds and awareness for Give Kids the World Village? What's all this for?
Oh man, this is a pretty cool story. Because NXT has really, they've made that a really special cause to them. People who don't know, Give Kids the World, the Village, is one of the greatest places in the world. Whenever a wish child, Make-A-Wish or other wish granting organizations, say they're going to Disney for their wish, what they actually do is they go to Give the Kids World a village, which is like a village in a small little theme park unto itself. It has its own theater, it has a few rides, it's magical, it's whimsical, and that's where those families stay for their week. And from there, they then have access to every attraction in the Orlando area. And so about 2 years ago, I'll tell you a guy who's really jumped in wholeheartedly is Thomas Ciampa. Am I saying it right? Ciampa. Yeah, I always get it wrong. And his wife, Jessie, they've become like very regular volunteers. NXT is there very often. And Scotty Too Hottie said to me a couple of years ago, he goes, you started all this. I said, what do you mean I started all this? He said, you were talking to me. You told me that you and your family visited every year. Back in that day, I used to read the children's books, and they'd say, story time with Mick Foley. And I told Scotty it was the greatest place in the world. And then when he went to NXT, he introduced it. He went there as a volunteer on my recommendation. He introduced it to NXT, so the company's kind of adopted that as, like I said, one of their main organizations. And so I had no idea that little snowball I made had rolled downhill and turned into something, much more important.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. So, it's going to be you. A lot of the NXT talent's going to be involved in this as well, helping to raise money for it.